it's pretty obvious that social media has allowed avenues for people like you, people like me to get our message out there. And when those messages become popular, the old media immediately jump in to attempt to control social media. So you've seen this mostly from people like Kevin Roose at the New York Times, who every single day
he hates me and you.
Oh yeah,
like there's no tomorrow.
Every single day, he posts the Facebook statistics showing that your page is popular, that my page is very popular, and then the implication, of course, being that Facebook is putting out disinformation. It never seems to occur to him that maybe the reason people like our information is because the New York Times won't report the kind of stuff that we talk about on a daily basis, and instead denies entirely these narratives. And this is, I think, the blind spot for the media, and it's the reason they've lost so much credibility. And now they're stuck. I think they've moved themselves into a box canyon where they can't get out. Because if they acknowledge that the narratives that you and I pursue on a daily basis and talk about, because we'll talk about all the same stuff they're talking about, but we will also talk about these other narratives that they won't talk about, right? I mean, you talked about Spygate, and you talked about the Russia hoax and all of that for years on your program. I talked about it, and I was actually more friendly toward, I tried to give your point of view, but also talked about what the New York Times was saying on a daily basis, and that still wasn't good enough for them. But then we would talk about other narratives that were in the news that get completely ignored. And instead of the New York Times starting to cover some of those other narratives, or hire a conservative journalist, or hire somebody to their op-ed page who might disagree with somebody once in a while, instead of doing that, they've decided that they actually want to hijack the social media networks and try to pressure them into shutting off access to information that conservatives provide. And that's a truly amazing thing. And so now they basically just have to double down on what they have, because if they ever acknowledge that maybe we're providing information that is useful, then they have to acknowledge they've been doing it wrong all these years. And simultaneously, if they acknowledge that we're successful because people want that information, then they have to acknowledge that social media is not biased. It's just that they're not performing their jobs particularly well.
That's a huge story, and I'm so glad your audience is going to get a kick at this, because there's no two better people to talk about than me and you. You and I, on any given day, there's a Twitter account, Facebook's Top 10, and it monitors via CrowdTangle the most popular posts of the day. There's not a day during the week that either you or I aren't on that. You usually have 3 or 4 posts. And on a good day, we'll have 3 or 4. Usually we have one or two. So you and I have very popular top 10 pages in the United States for posts. And you just said it. It bothers him so much that a writer, I believe for the New York Times, like Guy Roos, who monitors the Facebook's top 10, he only does it to pressure Facebook to say, listen, these right-wing provocateurs are posting content that we just don't ideologically like. Matter of fact, there was an article in The Week about me and you, by this other clown, not Roos, but suggesting somehow that we're promoting disinformation, which is incredible because, again, Facebook has an army of fact-checkers literally dedicated to destroying the lives of conservatives. And I hate literally because it's literally the most overused word in the English language, but I literally mean that. They have an army of fact-checkers deployed that just target almost exclusively conservative pages. If what we're saying is false, because we get it about once a month, we'll get one of these fake fact checks, which is really an opinion piece. Then why aren't we getting it every day? Why is our page still up? And what bothers them more is that there's an interesting thing about your page and my page, that they never tell the story. Most of the posts on we'll put clips, Kayleigh McEnany, Donald Trump, whatever. Everybody has a few newsy clips. You put a little spicy headline, whatever. But 50, 60, 70% of the material is material we write, like Daily Wire stuff you guys put together, and my clips from my show. So if what I'm saying on my show is false, then where are your army of fact checkers calling me out? So what they're saying is they're bothered by the truth. And it's really stunning. And I don't think the audience really gets behind the scenes how much pressure. You guys get it more than I do, because the Daily Wire has its own distinct from Ben Shapiro, has its own distinct. I mean, you guys are, you work for the Wire and all, and with them. But you guys have a multiple different layers of success on Facebook. Your team is phenomenal, just really good at it. It drives them wild, and the pressure to get you and me pulled off. I mean, I don't know how you feel about it. It's your show. I'm not interviewing you, but I think the guy I work with on Facebook who helps me produce the content, he's like, just milk it as long as you can because you won't be here long.
I will say that, I think that not all these companies operate the same way. I think that Twitter is more of a threat to conservatives just by statistics than Facebook is. I think that, listen, I've said it before, I think that Zuckerberg seems to have an ideological commitment to the idea, at least, of people being able to get their opinion out there. It may be imperfectly applied by his company, but he at least is mouthing those words, and I think he actually does care about that stuff. I think that the precise opposite applies to people like Jack Dorsey, who brutally wants to shut down anybody who disagrees with him. I think there's some others. Like, I think treating all social media identically is silly. And listen, I'd be a hypocrite if I sat here and I think I think my page may be the most successful Facebook page in the United States. It would be really hypocritical for me to talk about being silenced on Facebook. But you can certainly see it on Twitter. I mean, on Twitter for sure. And the pressure is exorbitant. I mean, there are people who are out there every day trying to get you demonetized, getting people like Steven Crowder demonetized on YouTube. There are people out there every single day who are trying to pressure these companies into literally kicking off the pages, who are trying to get our advertisers to drop us because the advertisers have to be pressured. And that's a serious thing that the right has not done. And it's put me in the position of basically saying, listen, if you guys continue this, at a certain point, we're going to have to engage in mutually assured destruction. I don't want to do it. Like, I think that anybody should be able to advertise on whatever program they damn well please. And if Acura wants to advertise with Rachel Maddow, enjoy. But if it's going to come to the point where nobody's allowed to advertise on your show or advertise on my show, and if they buy an ad on the Sunday special, then the leftists swarm them, then there will come a point where the right is just going to say, listen, we'll do the exact same thing to your advertisers, and then nobody will have advertising revenue, and then we'll see how you like this. Did you know that every like on this video creates one additional leftist tear gleaming in the sunshine? Don't ask me why. That's called science. To take advantage of this amazing opportunity, hit the like button.